Okay, hello Wembley. Hello, welcome to Play Expo Blackpool 2024. That's in. Who stayed over last night? Nice, isn't it? Okay, right, we've got an amazing panel. So, oh, by the way, I forgot to say, in our never-ending pursuit of improvement, this year we have a brand new projector. See, we're not playing games. We've got an amazing panel for you this morning. I know that's why we've got a packed crowd, but I want to tell you about some of the great panels that Play Expo have put on for you this year. So, at 1:30, join me with Jonathan Dunn, Ocean 8-bit music legend. He'll be here, that's 1:30. And then, celebrating 40 years of the Amstrad CPC. We've got the man who made it. We've got Roland Perry at 3 p.m. And then, oh, good. And then at 4:30, we've got a special talk with John and Brenda Romero. Oh, you're a good crowd. And then join us tomorrow. We've got Bullfrog and Lionhead legend Gary Carr will be here. Nice. Followed by at 2 o'clock Warren Davis, who's the creator of Cuboids. What an agenda we've got for you, eh? Come on! That's right. Okay, but before all that, a very good friend of mine is about to come out. I want a big reaction. When I saw him today, I gave him a big hug. We're such good friends. Ladies and gentlemen, to talk about his amazing new film project with some very special guests, please welcome Mr. Jason Bradbury!
Drive around and loot. That hasn't transpired.
Keep it coming for Jason, everyone!
Thank you so much. Hang on. If I chuck that out, are you going to clap? If I chuck this out, are you going to clap? Okay. There we go. Oh! Put your hand up if you're a size. You're not a size large. You're a size large. Okay. This is what you want, brother. This is what you want. It's going to ruin your hair, though. Is that alright? Look what happened to me. What's going on? Darling, there you go. What else have we got? Hands up if you're a medium. The problem is now I'm meeting eyes. If I don't send it to you, I get in trouble. What else have we got? More cats. One more. Big round of applause. We'll see if we can do some more of that. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Oh, man. It's great to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That's so much easier. My God. Okay, incredible to be here. What an amazing thing this is. Thank you so much for coming, because I'll be honest with you, when you organise these things, you never know if people are going to make the effort, you know, to walk to the other side of the hotel. To go down, I think I measured it, 7.5 miles of corridor to get here. Dad with youngster, you need a seat, my friend. You need a seat. There are seats down here. We can move one out to the back for you. If someone would be kind enough, we need to look after the parents. He's holding another human being.
Sit at the front, my friend.
He's holding another human being. Right, so let me just check that we are in a go situation. We need to unlock. So I'm the gadget guy. All this stuff is easy for me. Yeah. It's not working. Hang on a second. Yay! Okay, so at various points I'm going to remind you of this, like a used car salesman, that the QR code there will link you to the project that we're here to talk about. What we're going to do, because we've got some young people and that, and I just hate it when people go on and on and on for like an hour. We'll keep this nice and brief, half an hour, 40 minutes max. We'll do a Q&A at the end if you want, and then we can all, like one huge big tribe, like a gang from an 80s movie, we can all move through the halls, right, sneering at passers-by. And we'll go to our stand where you can have a look at the Sinclair C5. If you promise not to push the thing down on the top, which will snap, you can sit in it. You can see some more of the merch and all the rest of it. But it'll all make sense in a minute when I've told you about the project. But first of all, it is incumbent on me to introduce you. It's a rock gig. Expect feedback. Very rock and roll. Yeah, it's all about the panellists today. So we wanted to do something really special for you. That was what my amazing entrance on the Sinclair C5 was all about. In fact, a side mission. I was fortunate enough to be invited to the premiere of The Rubber Keyed Wonder. Hands up if you're aware of that project. I thought you might be, look at that. Half the room puts their hand up. And it was at the IMAX. It was absolutely amazing, the biggest cinema screen in Britain. And anyway, what impressed me wasn't just the film, which was great, but I got to meet Sir Clive Sinclair's son. It was mega. So I've met Sir Clive, I've now met his son. I do feel like I'm part of the family. So yeah, the Sinclair C5, by the way, is pertinent to this project. Make sure that I mention that. But like I said, I want to mention first of all the panel that we've got. So joining us first on stage, please give a huge warm welcome to my co-writer of this movie, stand-up comedian and all-round lovely man. Give it up for Mr. Mark Felgate, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, Mark. Don't chip on that, my friend. High five. Right, you can sit there. You can sit there. Yeah, wherever you like. So, yeah, Mark is going to be joining us at the stand, and Mark has done all kinds of cool things. But the thing that you'll want to know is that he was on Britain's Got Talent.
Oh, no one saw it though.
Yeah.
What about that? I was on Nickelodeon for 7 years presenting on telly. What about that?
Like I said, Britain's Got Talent.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Great to have you with us, my friend. Also joining us on the panel, in the wings right now, about to come on, is one of the gentlemen of the retro gaming scene in the UK that I consider to be the most erudite, a true guru, a man that looks at the higher level of the retro gaming scene, produces some absolutely fantastic deep dive videos. You'll know him as Slopes. I know him as Daniel. Come on in, my friend. Good to see you, buddy. Is that a VHS t-shirt that you've got on there? It looks like a VHS logo from the 80s.
I think it's a Scarface reference.
Okay,
Well,
okay.
it's yours.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. What a subtle movie reference from you. I would never have expected it. Okay, and now hopefully this next slide is going to work because, as you might have gathered from that slide, we have an extra special guest. Now, one of the things that I'm most excited about, that music should have started. No, it didn't work. Oh my God, please work. Yeah, it's there. We just need to turn it up. There we go. Whoops. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe I'm saying this, but this incredible movie project that you're going to hear all about in a minute, and I can see that some of you are excited because they've brought vinyl, is going to be collated by none other than Utah Saints. Joining us in person is my mate from school, your DJ from Utah Saints, 90s dance legends, DJ Tim! I love it. Let's just let this music soak up the vibes. Young people, this is what you need to be into, okay? Alright? You need to be pumping the air like an old school raver. There we go. That's the bit I was waiting for. Because I'm not a DJ, Tim, I mistimed the entrance. Okay, brilliant stuff. Right. There we go, that is our panel, ladies and gentlemen, and we will give over to whatever questions you've got in a moment. So I'll try and do this first bit for about, I don't know, 20 minutes, and then we'll do about 10 minutes Q&A, right? That sounds right. I've not, in case it's not obvious, I've not prepared anything. I am obviously an ex-TV presenter, so I can only read auto cue. I actually don't have a brain. But don't worry, what I don't have an intellect, I make up for in vanity, all right? So we're okay. So, eh? Thank you. Yeah, I remember when I bought these glasses, I went into the opticians, I said, I'll have that pair, please. And he said, I'm sorry, sir, that's the shop window. Hey, right, so, hello kids, how you doing? Good to see you. Brought the fam. Big up to the fam. So yeah, so what I think I'll do is just talk roughly for a few minutes about the project, and then I'll go through some visuals that sort of back up what we're doing. Otherwise, because some of you might not know anything about the project, and then I'll chat to you guys and all the rest of you and pass the mics around. So basically, what is Ctrl A.I Delete? Well, it's an independent movie. So I started off back in the day, 1989 it was, when I enrolled on the film and TV course at Bristol University. I didn't know it then, but my peers, my fellow students, were going to go on to do all kinds of amazing things. One of them was Simon Pegg. Yeah, and on the other side was, and to be fair, Simon Pegg was in the year above. And then sat next to me, David Walliams, Yeah, in Simon Pegg's class, Dominic Diamond. And so we started a comedy troupe. All of us started a comedy troupe. And we did it above the Dome restaurant in Clifton in Bristol, where the uni was. And it was called David Icke and the Orphans of Jesus. And the compere was none other than Dominic Diamond. Me and David Williams had a double act called Bunsen Burner. He was David Bunce. Thank you. I'm being heckled by a 1-year-old. And I was called Rally Burner. Bunsen Burner, and we did a double act. In fact, we carried on after uni. We went to the Comedy Store, we did Jongleurs and all the other big clubs in London. But at that time, we were running a club in Bristol once a week or once every 2 weeks. Dominic Diamond went and did an audition in London, came back, he said, I got the job. Of course, it was Games Master, which we must reference with regard to
I have a golden joystick.
You do? Tim has a golden joystick, ladies and gentlemen.
But Jason's got it.
Actually, I've got it, yeah. Yeah, about that. I should do a tweet about that. Golden joystick, that's a good idea. Okay, so, yeah. So obviously, Simon Pegg went on. I'm trying to focus. Oh, bless you, young man. Oh, I remember those days. I'm going to blow your mind now. My daughter just went to university. That is insane. This child will go to university one day. It's an absolutely mind-blowing experience being a parent, isn't it? Yeah, so what I'm trying to get at is that, you know, movie making, script writing, editing, movie narrative was in my blood. But if I'm honest, I'm going to be really honest now, I was too scared to give movies a go. Because Tim and I we weren't at the same school, but we lived in the same town. And, oh, what's going on? I've got a scratchy sound. Hello, is that better? Yeah, weird. And so I plumped for TV because basically you could walk down the streets of the BBC, you know, in Bristol, and then when eventually I lived in London, you could kind of access TV, but movies always seemed really inaccessible. But I always harboured this desire to make a movie. I'm a huge fan of movies. My favourite movies are almost exclusively, 80s derived, 80s and 90s movies. I love action movies from the 80s and 90s and comedies and that, and that's reflected in this film. So anyway, fast forward to, well, I left the Gadget Show, as you probably know, about 7 years ago. And I keep saying this actually because a lot of people don't know this. I don't know if you know, but me and Susie have just got together with the original producer of the Gadget Show, and we're actually doing a podcast. And it's made by the Gadget Show production company. It's called the Gadget Show Podcast. So I'm just putting that out there. You can get it on YouTube or Spotify. So I didn't really leave the Gadget Show with any animosity. I didn't hate everyone. We didn't fall out, which I think everyone thinks that's what happened. But I did get a bit sort of fed up with just the kind of culture of television, the kind of corporate nature of it, and I don't think I was ever really, really meant for that world. And I was a geek, I grew up in the 80s. My dad was a plastics engineer and used to work in Rugby in Lincolnshire at a plastics company. And I'd get the prototypes for things like the Sinclair C5 and the ZX80, the first Sinclair watch in about 1979. And the original Spectrum, other things like Amstrads and things that my dad was pitching his company to make, we would often get prototypes, and so it kind of bred in me an interest in technology and prototypes and all that sort of stuff. And so that's why I had that technology thing going on. So that and the fact that I did a kind of film and TV degree, you can see why I ended up doing the Gadget Show, right? But when I left the Gadget Show, really I left it to do projects like Ctrl A.I Delete. So what is it and how did it come to pass? Well, Mark is a stand-up comedian. I was being serious when I said all those big high-profile things that he's done. And we've always written for him. Often I do live gigs and I'll ring up Mark, no one knows this, and I'll say, Mark, I need a joke about Sir Clive Sinclair. I've got a picture of Sir Clive Sinclair in a presentation I'm doing for Microsoft or Vodafone or something like that. I need a joke. And he goes, and I actually use this one, he goes, for those of you that don't know Sir Clive Sinclair, he's the 80s answer to Elon Musk. If Elon Musk was ginger and dressed like a geography teacher. You wrote that, didn't you? So this is our association.
Don't blame me.
Come on. No, it's the delivery that I blame. So
Jason.
Sorry.
Watching you, Jason.
Sorry, kids. So,
As you were saying.
thank you. I'll continue now. You can see Mark in action in a minute, you'll be pleased to know, on the promo. So anyway, we written stuff and we wrote a movie. We wrote a movie, weirdly enough, it was about golf. It was about two chancers from Lincoln who came up with an idea to, because I used to caddy at the weekends in Lincolnshire.
So did I.
Yeah, we did, didn't we? That's what all the local kids in Woodall Spire and Lincolnshire used to do to earn pocket money, is be caddies at the local golf club. Anyway, 20 years later, Mark and I wrote a movie about that whole experience, about a bunch of chancellors from Lincoln who enter a golf tournament because they've sponsored one of the holes. You can win a Bentley if you get a hole in one. They train a bird to catch a ball in midair and drop it in the hole. It's called pigeonhole. And no one was interested. We took it around all the production companies, because back then, 12 years ago, it probably was, wasn't it? 12 years ago, we wrote it over Skype, so that tells you how long ago it was. And we went to...
Video call. MSN. Yeah, MSN. Yeah. That's what we did.
Was it?
Yeah. Just keep nudging each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Line after line. We built this movie. We took it to companies like Working Title, you know, where Simon Pegg had gone and done the Cornetto trilogy, and other production companies and that, but no one was interested, right? So then, here comes the sad bit. Marky Boy became quite ill, and so we won't go into details, but you were ill, and he was in hospital for several weeks, correct? Yeah. And this happened about 18 months ago, and I rang him up in the hospital ward a few times, and just to try and get him, you know, positive about the outcome of whatever was going on. I said, look mate, when you are better, we're going to get together, we're going to write a new movie, and this time we're going to make sure this one gets made. And that was the opening of the adventure that is Ctrl A.I Delete. And the idea, and I mean this sincerely, I'm not PRing you, the idea for this movie came, the setting for the movie came to me. We created the movie together, but the setting was what I brought to the table, and it was here. It was not here last year, it was the year before, and I thought, I want to try and capture all of these amazing characters and all of this enthusiasm and this love for this nostalgia, for this incredible, effectively 2 decades of our lives, the 80s and 90s. And because I think it's got real narrative power, right? Then the AI thing happened, you know, with OpenAI dropping ChatGPT and Gemini and Grok and God knows what else. And we started to form a narrative. So, rather than me tell you what the movie is about, I'm going to let the promo do it so we can write the thank you, you did such a great job. So hopefully this will work. Here we go. Hello, I'm Jason Bradbury, and I've got an incredible story that I need you to help us tell. While you might recognise me from the Gadget Show, what you might not know is that I've got a deep passion for film. A fascination with retro gaming and just about anything from the 80s and 90s. Since studying film and TV at university, I had a 20-year career in television, but I was always interested in trying to do something cinematic. Over the years, my writing partner and I dabbled with various screenplays, but recently we came up with a really special idea, something different, offbeat and timely. Introducing Ctrl A.I Delete, a new comedy feature film.
I'm Mark Felgate, I'm a stand-up comic, actor and the other half of the writing team. I'm also a ventriloquist. Are you really? Yes I am. No way. This way. When the rollout of a new artificial intelligence goes wrong, the world descends into chaos.
Nothing works. Planes fall out of the sky, stock markets and banks crash, there are blackouts, riots.
It gets real! But amid the turmoil, a geeky band of gamers are attending their beloved annual retro gaming convention in Skegness.
And led by their unlikely hero, Smith, they realise that their retro 80s and 90s gaming computers could be just what they need to hack the AI and win the day.
The first time I read the script, I knew I had to be involved. I'm Elizabeth Blake Thomas, the director of this crazy adventure. I've directed over 20 full-length feature films, and I can tell you that successful film projects take more than just a good script and technical skill. They demand a deep-rooted sense of passion, felt by every member of the team, including the dog. Down for the dummy, Ron.
I'm Josh Haddock. I'm an actor playing Smit, our lead. Do you mind if I get through, guys? It's just you're blocking the cycle lane. He's a regular guy, forced to realise his potential in extraordinary circumstances. At its core, it is about connection with our past, with each other, with the simple joys of retro gaming in a world losing its grip on reality.
I'm Sam, Director of Photography. I run a film production company in the southwest of England, making content for brands. But secretly, I long to work in the feature film industry. When the guys asked me to film some teaser footage, I jumped at the chance. The footage that you're watching in this video was shot on zero budget and a bunch of favours. Imagine what it might look like with your backing, with a proper set and a full crew.
No movie would be complete without a great soundtrack.
We are Utah Saints and we're thrilled to be curating the music.
Expect an electrifying soundtrack that complements the film's nostalgic vibe. We're going to blend classic and new sounds to create something truly special.
With your support on Kickstarter, we can bring this film to life. Be part of this amazing journey. And let's make Ctrl A.I Delete a reality.
This is more than just a film. It's about bringing together a community of new filmmakers and creating something really special.
Support Ctrl A.I Delete on Kickstarter.
Choose from a range of exciting perks.
And be part of this extraordinary project.
Thank you for believing in us.
Okay. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's emotional, isn't it? Oh, is that not working?
Yeah.
So good gadgets, really good with the tab. No, it's that was just really incredible to bass elements to the. You could use that. You could sample that.
Next time.
You could scratch that up. Yeah. So what we'll do is I'll just think of some questions and then we'll throw it to the floor, right? Because I think that's the best thing to do. But just to reiterate, in 15 minutes or so, we're going to be back at our stand. Hello. Hey! We're going to be back at our stand and come and join us. What is going on? I have no idea. This one, it's still crackly though. Hello, hello, hello. 1, 2, 1, 2. That's a bit better, is it?
Is it on that one?
Hello. All right. Yeah, we're back at the stand. Come and join us. You'll see that we've got lots of merchandise here. We're not actually selling the merchandise. It's just to show you the sort of stuff that we do on the Kickstarter. And we're also doing a special deal, which I shall just, because I'll forget to tell you. And that is that if you go onto the Kickstarter today and you go for the 35 quid early bird Blu-ray, right, which is a Blu-ray plus 2 hours of behind the scenes footage plus a separate digital download, we will give you AI stole my job and all I got was this lousy mug for free. You'll also get it way before anyone else on the Kickstarter as a special Play Expo exclusive. Anyway, enough said. So first of all, Marky Boy, I'm going to come to you.
Yeah, okay.
What is it you think about this movie that you want to kind of communicate? What is the vibe that for this very distinguished audience is particularly pertinent, do you think?
I think it's the fun of it, isn't it? Well, that's what we were excited about writing the film. Getting that 80s vibe to a lot of modern day film and using all the retro tech and everything. And the C5,
yeah.
Sinclair. There's a little chase scene, isn't there?
Yeah, one of our characters, Smit, the main character of the movie, Smit, has got to get across Skeggy because, as I said in the promo, it's riots in every major town and city across the world, right? Skeggy is no exception, and we just wanted a fun way of getting across. So, Sinclair C5 was the way to go.
Yeah. Hopefully no hard right turns or anything, or left turns. Because it can't do that.
No, well, as I demonstrated, it's stuck.
As long as they run straight,
yeah.
you're okay.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have kind of like the road men. I think they're called. My son tells me they're called road men now. That's a bit sexist, isn't it? at an intersection, and they've got to get through. So that's what that scene. That was a kind of you know, that's the only scene we could afford to do. But in reality, in the movie, there'll be 20 of those guys. There'll be things on fire. It will be a lot more, you know, populated. And then one of the other things that I would say is the use of anamorphics. We're using an anamorphic lens, and if you're familiar with that, you know, when you look at that very distinctive look of movies like Blade Runner and distinctly Die Hard, for example, they're shot on an anamorphic lens. I don't really understand why, but what it does is it stretches out everything it shoots in a very distorted way. Yeah. And then when you edit it, you de-shrink it, but you still have this almost ghostly sense that it was stretched. So what you end up with is that, you know, like in westerns when people look quite tall and quite thin, it's got that feeling to it, and it's a very 80s thing. It's very subtle. And it does something with what they call bokeh. You might be familiar with that. When you have lots of lighting, which of course the 80s, loads of movies in the 80s are very dark, lots of lighting, and it makes those sort of diamond shapes in the background, you know, which is
light flare.
Yeah, it does flares as well, horizontal light flares. That's a third sort of aesthetic of that way of shooting. So we're really thinking about this. The film is contemporary. It's set in a modern day, right? But it's shot in an 80s style, and the reason it's shot in an 80s style is because the central characters, a bunch of friends who all live in a flat, are into retro gaming. So you can see why we're here talking to you. And so, if you like, the way the film looks we're trying to kind of get a sense of them and their passion. That's why it looks like an 80s movie, right? Also because 80s movies are the best. I should put a question over to Tim, and I know you're going to have to busk an answer. I'm going to put you on the spot. So you'll note that I used the phrase curated when I was referring to the Utah Saints, and maybe you could explain exactly what that means.
Yeah, well, I think scoring a whole movie is a big job, and everything in this movie is about collaborating. So yeah, it will force me and Jazz have only had about 2 albums out since 1991, so we're pretty crap at finishing stuff. We just like start music and it just sits on the drive, and then someone says it needs to be done by Tuesday, and it'll be done by Tuesday. But if we don't get a deadline, then sometimes it doesn't get finished. So with this film project, it'd be cool because we will have deadlines to work to. So we will make some new music specifically for this film, and then we will work with some other people. There's just lots of cool people that we want to bring in. And so curating a soundtrack is almost like, it's like DJing in a club, because when I DJ in a club, I just have a massive catalogue of music and everything's kind of on the fly, and I just kind of work it out as you go along. And you know, it's like, imagine if you were if you watch a movie or a video at home and you turn the sound down, and then you had a set of decks and you just tried to play music along to it. That is what curating a movie soundtrack is about, basically.
And Tim would know, all right, because I've already dropped the Games Master bomb, which is impressive, and you won the Golden Joystick because you're not only on the show.
By default, but I did WWF wrestling, and I played a character called Randy Savage, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing basically, but I just somehow won, and I got a Golden Joystick, which is cool, and because I rediscovered it. At the time I was going out with this girl, and I came home and she was kind of like, you know, the room was nice and tidy, everything's laid out. I come back with a Golden Joystick and go, I'm really proud of this. I've won something in my life, it's going there. I went off on tour. When I came back I couldn't find it, and then when eventually we split up and we moved out, I found it in the loft. I was so happy. I brought it to my new house and I thought, right, it's going there. And Jason comes around and goes, this is a Golden Joystick.
I'm melted.
Can I borrow it? And I go, yes. Now it's down at Jason's house. So I've had it in my house probably, I've had it for about 2 months.
I feel bad, man. I've had it
one day I'll get it back, and yeah.
Mate. Oh God.
But just add as well, I mean, just to be involved in this film for me, especially, is really cool because we've always worked closely with video games, and you know, we had tracks on FIFA. One of my most proudest. Had anybody heard of a game called Vib Ribbon? Yeah. So yeah, we had a track called Power to the Beats, which I was really proud of that, because that track we got a Metallica sample cleared, and we also got Chuck D to do a vocal from Public Enemy. And
But that's in the game?
yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, so so if you go on, I need to get a copy of that as well. There you go, Power to the Beast. Cool.
Hold that up again. I want to get a picture for Tim. Hold that up. I'm just thinking about it. Hold that.
Yeah, so that
It's an expensive game.
I've got the track at home, but I haven't got a big ribbon, so I need to try and get a copy of that.
It's an expensive game now.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a rarity now.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry.
Right. I've probably got somewhere. It's probably in the loft.
I think I've got it.
But yeah, just so we've always had a kind of close alignment with video games, and I've been a fan. I've known Jason. You know, Jason was like, when I lived in this little village, he was always the coolest kid in town. He had the first guy to have a BMX bike, and yeah, this little village, well, it's called Woodall Spa, and it had one cafe at a swimming pool, and which had one machine in, and I got addicted to games because that one machine had Scramble and Galaxian, and I used to it was 10p for a go, and I'd just put my hand, down the back of the sofa, try and get money together in the summer holidays, and I'd go down and I'd get probably £1.20 together, and I'd go down and just play Scramble. It was at a time when all this stuff and the whole culture. I mean, it just when Stranger Things came out, that reminded me so much of my youth and growing up with Jason. So to be part of this film is awesome. And plus we made all those records back in the day on an Atari.
I was going to say, I remember I was going to make a joke and say, no, Tim was the coolest kid in the village, and that was because he had an Intellivision
with B-17 Bomber.
With B-17 Bomber.
Which is like the most glitchiest game I've ever played, but I loved it, and
But I was going to say, your Atari was the next thing, and I just loved the Atari, because that was an exotic machine. I mean, I had my ZX Spectrum. Was it the Atari 800 or 400? I can't remember.
So I had an Atari 800, and then I progressed to a 520, and then a 1040, and got that upgraded, and that's what we made. We made our Utah's tracks on the 1040 and an Akai sampler, and just minimal equipment in Jez's bedroom, and then got some money together and took it into a studio. We took all the equipment down there, made the track. So Atari's kind of got a special place in my heart.
That's amazing, man. Because it had the MIDI on it, right?
Yeah, it had direct MIDI out, and I'd still stand by us now. You've got all these programs running on Macs like Ableton. The timing on the MIDI timing on the Atari is so tight. It's probably still tighter than anything around at the moment, in my opinion.
Exceptional, man. That's absolutely crazy. The film is set in Skeggy. I brought up a picture of Skegness, and it's important that you realise that. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, the plan is for us to house everyone in a holiday park in Woodall Spa.
That's cool.
So that's weird that you mentioned Woodall. So the film will be made in that area. It's set in Skeggy, but obviously for practical reasons it's expensive to film any movie in the location that the narrative sets it in. You get what I mean? Like if you write a movie about New York, even if you've got 50 million quid, you're probably not going to film all of it in New York because it's really expensive. You'll probably film some of the key scenes in New York, and then you'll find, and I'm being serious, a lot of films that are shot in New York are shot in Glasgow because it's got a similar architecture, right? And in the same way, we're going to shoot as much as we can in and around Skeggy, and then roll into Skeggy, run and gun it, push our luck, because the kind of budget we're talking about, so that you understand.
That's what makes it good. It's the raw vibe of it all, and that's why this Kickstarter's so good. I mean, obviously, I talk about negative Kickstarters quite a lot on my channel.
I'm aware of that. Yeah.
So I was quite surprised when you asked me to come up here. But I actually back Kickstarters all the time because as someone that's into the retro gaming scene, I find it really exciting when you find out a prototype that you was never supposed to see, and Kickstarter is the place where you get to see all the prototypes, whether they make it or not. That's still exciting to go and see, and I was the same as you. When you were talking about your history in television, you found out that we had a television show on at the same time, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
What was your show?
So my show was called The Human Guinea Pigs, and then your show was called, obviously, The Gadget Show. Yeah. And then we were told we were allowed to go on at 7:30, but then The Gadget Show came along and took our spot, and we was on at the same time as Coronation Street. It wouldn't have mattered. I mean, look, we both still ended up at Play Expo, so it's fine. Mine lasted for one season. It was a Jackass rip-off. Yeah, but anyway, also the show itself wasn't what we wanted it to be, because too many people get their funds in the pie and they all want to change it and stuff, and that's why Kickstarters, when done right, of course, are good.
Yeah, and so the grassroots nature of this project, which is very much in the Kickstarter DNA. In fact, yesterday, we were really made up, weren't we? Because Mark was sat there and he started screaming, and I'm like, what's it? Because we've been given Project We Love status by Kickstarter. Now, I don't know if they give that to everyone. Maybe they do, but it worked. But we were absolutely made up, weren't we? And it's got this nice sort of community feel. We've already got, and I would say as well, if you are kind enough to back this project, make sure you leave a comment, because we're answering all the comments, and it is a proper community project.
Kickstarter didn't know about this before. You didn't go to Kickstarter before you put it. See, that's the thing. Most people don't realise that Projects We Love are given because you go to Kickstarter and they're like, ooh, we know you. You're a famous person or you're a famous brand. The fact that you actually get it on your own, it's a big deal.
I would have gone to them, but I know you could.
Yeah.
You know nothing really.
No, it is a big deal. I know quite a lot about the behind the scenes of Kickstarter, and yeah, most of the time they're paid for. But if you've got them,
we got it for free.
Yeah, if you've got it,
we got it through merit. And the grassroots nature of this is important, because I'm sure I won't have to explain to you that £50,000, which is our goal, is not a lot of money to make a feature-length film, especially when you see the cast and the crew, right? And these guys, Elizabeth is a bona fide film director, and I'd like to think she's interested in this project because the script blew her away, which is true. But the reason that we got in the door with Elizabeth is because our daughters went to school together, because she used to live in the UK, and then she said, I'm going to LA with my daughter, who was an actress. At the time, she was a young actress on CBeebies. She's now a 21-year-old Hollywood actress, not A-lister, but working actress. And she's going to be playing the female lead in that movie. Elizabeth, went and followed her dream, like Tim, a bit like all of us. And she is now a film director. And the last movie she did had Mickey Rourke in the cast. So she's the real deal. But none of us are getting paid. And it's important you know this. We're not paying ourselves. We're doing it all for free. Don't worry, we'll work something out.
No, we are. We'll put in this. When Jason said, do you want to get involved? And I just said, yeah. It's like, it's not really about money. It's just getting it. It's, no, but it's not. It's just...
I've heard this pitch before.
No, we're just... everything, if you get the 50 grand, which I do think we will, because it's important to say you're up to 18, and I've never been involved in a Kickstarter thing before, so I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know what
we're a few days in, so I don't know historically if a track, if it doesn't get over the line in the first week, is it likely to ever get there, or does it just trickle along? But it's up to 18, and we need to hit 50. And as Jason said, 50 is a lot of money, but it's not really to make a film. So everybody probably will be doing it for free.
Put it this way, we're not going out and having an Italian on your way, and we're not driving around in posh cars. What we're doing is we're putting every single penny into the movie. Once we've paid for the merchandise and we've fulfilled the rewards, everything goes into the movie. Insurance, location fees, hiring. I mean, the hiring of a lens, the anamorphic lens that we shot this on. This was shot on the same camera that I used to do my Sunday Way of the Exploding Show live stream. It's a Sony A7S III. Might not mean anything to you. It's the same as what's called the FX3, which is it's identical, the same camera, just one has a different body on it, but the same internals. And why am I telling you this? Because you might be familiar with a movie called The Creator. Is that a Netflix movie? And also Civil War, which is quite a controversial film recently. Aspects of that were shot on the FX3. The whole of The Creator was shot on the FX3, because it will take the big cinema lenses, but the camera costs like £3.5 grand. So I've got one of those cameras. We're going to get another one, and we're going to put the anamorphic lens that we use for this, which by the way cost £1,000. which you might think is a lot of money. Well, put it this way, a normal Hollywood movie lens is more like 250,000 for the lens. So everything we're doing here is about kit, insurance, travel costs, food, accommodation, but not wages for certainly the senior team. We might be forced to pay certain people that we critically need to make the program happen, the movie happen. And that's the case regardless of how far we go, because I'm aware there is no ceiling for a Kickstarter. That's one of the great things. So there we go. Yeah. I'm just showing you some of the images. This is us shooting in a retro gaming cafe in Newquay. There's the Ronin. I also bought that as well. I'm about £5 down before we even start. And then there's the Ronin, DJI Ronin, which is a gimbal stabilizer. So that's how you get that lovely smooth shot, which is manually done, back-achingly done by Sam, the director of photography there. And there's our actor. Our actor who plays the character of Smit is a RADA-trained actor who I met in a car park in Newquay. And it gets weirder, doesn't it, Mark? They had a cafe in the car park and they rolled a carpet out and said, sit on the carpet and we'll serve you some coffee. And I sat on a carpet in the car park and the cars are coming in and parking. It's like this sort of, rug. And this chap sat next to me, started chatting to him. 24 hours later, he had the script. He was just like, I have to do it. I have to play Smith. What do I need to do? It was amazing, wasn't it? And then I remember when we shot this teaser footage in this retro, it's called Retro Blast. Has anyone been there in Newquay? Retro Blast. It's a retro gaming cafe. We borrowed that for 24 hours on the promise of making them famous.
Whoops.
If you ever go in there, by the way, say Jason said you. About me. And we just I bought the smoke machine off Amazon. That's what you can see there. And the Ronin. That's why I'm looking so fucking language. So that's why I'm looking. Some weird thing with the mic there. Did you hear that? That's why I'm looking so stressed. Because I'm thinking, I hope my wife doesn't find out. But I just bought all this gear. And then that is the. I don't know if you can see if it's that clear. I'm aware that from looking at the back, it's not that clear. But we have designed a fictional arcade machine, which is at the centre of the narrative. It's called Star Dash, and it's really important, right? It's really important to the narrative, but I won't say why. But I had to design the artwork with my daughter, who happens to be an illustrator, which is very useful. And so we liveried it up. There's a marquee there. In fact, you can actually buy the marquee as part of the rewards for the movie. So that's just a little bit of background. And we shot all of this. We shot the whole thing on this A7S III, but then we used this other camera here to do a kind of behind the scenes. Oh yeah, this is the final thing I'll say, and then we'll throw it open to the floor for some questions, if that's okay. We're also going to do a special giveaway. Tim's got something special, but we'll get to that in a minute. So hopefully you've been paying attention. Did you notice me? Yeah. I gave you a clue earlier that you're going to need to resurrect in your minds to win something special. More on that in a second. I just want to tell you about this shot. Can you see it, basically? So you can see Qbert in the background. Now, fans up? No. Is that Qbert you got there? Good lad. Good effort. For the PlayStation, first gen, on with this PS5 Pro, £78,000 nonsense. What do I think they are? Although, ooh, that grey one looks nice. That 30th anniversary colour. Maybe I could afford it. So, okay, so in the second series, first episode, second series, Stranger Things. Dusty? Oh, say Dusty. Dusty? Dusty. Dustin. Dustin is at the controls of, which game is it? Dragon's Lair. Yeah. I think it is. Dragon's Lair. I was watching it, and then I stopped it, because there's this amazing shot. And what they'd done is they'd whacked the cinema camera inside the Dragon's Lair machine, and it was looking up at Dustin. And I started to deconstruct this, and then I got in touch with my cinema chap, and I said, you know what, we're shooting this trailer next week. So I went inside, and I don't know, I said something like, oh, darling, I need something from upstairs, could you help me out? She disappears. I run into the lounge, grab our wedding photograph, take the glass out of it, and peg it. Claire comes down with my socks or something, you know, she's like, where's that picture gone? And I run down to the camera, this really happened. By the way, nothing we're saying is made up, it's all horribly true. I am that skint, and this really happened. We ran down to the cafe, and that's me holding the glass. We tried it with me holding it, and then you can see the idea is that he's playing Stardash like that, and you can see his face. That is a big feature of the Kickstarter visuals, Ctrl A.I Delete.net, the website, which you should also check out. And of course the promo, it's that shot that we got from Stranger Things, that's how we did it. In the end, I left all the dust on it because it looked really good, it was like quite authentic. Otherwise you don't know it's there. And the refraction of light and stuff, that's what you get. But the fact that I was holding it, you could just see it was moving in shot. You never think about these things, do you? And so I clamped it onto a tripod and we did the shot, and that's... Say again?
I think you've unplugged it.
Oh, is it? Have I done something silly with it? God. What's that? Well, that's not it.
I don't know.
Where's that from?
Can I leave it to you and I'll talk? Oh, yeah. Oh, it actually wasn't me, but it's the sort of thing I do. Does that work? Yeah. There you go. So look, I'm very aware that we said that we're going to do a giveaway in a minute, but first of all, ask some questions. We'll get you to ask some questions. So, any of the panellists, Daniel is our resident retro gaming expert, so address any questions specifically about games. Mark, of course, comedian, co-writer, and you know this man. So, yeah, fire away. We'll be fascinated to hear if you've got any questions. Just shout them out and we'll repeat them. Anybody?
Calm yourselves.
Toyologist.
Any original Utah Saints music in the film? Wow.
Yes. Yeah, we will write music specifically for it, and then the whole thing is just to collaborate and bring other people in, to do different projects within the film. Because scoring the whole film, is quite a big thing. But we may end up doing 100% of it. I don't know, but we'll do new music. Yeah.
It'll have their DNA firmly in it. I mean, I want to save Tim from committing to too much because I'm just so amazed and grateful to have him attached to the project. It's just huge. But there are also some amazing libraries that we can utilise where you can just select a playlist.
Yeah, and there's a couple. The last Lee. I don't know if you're in here, but I did Final Vendetta. There's a good friend of mine called Lee, Featurecast. He got us involved in we did 4 tracks on Final Vendetta, and so that was really good fun. And so I'd like to bring Lee in as well to do a couple of things on that because
Final Vendetta is one of the greatest video game soundtracks of all time, and I always say it to him, but it genuinely is one of the absolute best. Yeah. Always using that music in my videos, it's so good.
Small did it down to us, and probably 80% down to Lee, because he's a genius. So he'd be great to have on board as well.
Was it Streets of Rage 2 that had that epic soundtrack?
Well, 1 and 2, yeah. Well, 3's good as well, but it's very different. But no, that particular soundtrack, I heard that it was being made before it came out. After speaking to Matt Buren, a new brawler. I'm excited for this. But then when I heard Featurecast was involved, then I heard yourself was involved. And when I first heard the first track on the first level, it was like imagine Streets of Rage, but it was made by The Prodigy or something like that. It was just like, this is absolute nectar for me. It's genuinely one of the best soundtracks ever made.
Yeah, and the Final Vendetta guys are here as well, I got quite excited this morning because they said about maybe doing Final Vendetta 2. That's talking about.
Ooh, that's the first I've heard of this, and I've been trying to get them to tell me new games, so I think something might have slipped there. I'm excited.
They sort of talk about stage, and I just said, yeah, we'd be up for it.
I'm buzzing for that, cool. Absolutely.
And it's coming, isn't Final Vendetta also coming out on some other platforms?
Yeah, it's coming out on the Dreamcast and SNES, I think.
Love it! I love it. All right, more questions? Any more questions? Because we've only got really, I thought we were going to finish early to save all your backsides, but we've done really well. We've only got 8 minutes left.
Go for it. When's the movie likely to come out?
Okay, I can answer that. Oh, well, maybe you can answer that.
Well, it's going to take about a year.
So here's the production rundown, right? We get funded, my wife has told me to say this, don't say if, say when. When we get funded, that'll be second week in November. We go straight away to pre-production, and that'll involve me, Mark, and And I've got a lady that I work with called Annabelle, who does all the kind of heavy lifting for me in terms of office work and that. And then Elizabeth, who lives in Los Angeles. She really is a resident of LA, works in Hollywood. And we'll be doing Zoom calls and doing pre-production. So I'm the producer of the film, so my job will be to, you know, be her whipping boy and make sure that everything that Elizabeth says she needs is ready. So if we need a bus to set on fire, Tim's wife owns a bus company.
As you do.
If we need some script elements done, then we talk to Mark. If we need to find locations, we go and scout them, and we start to get it all ready, because when you've only got £50,000 or whatever we end up with, it could be 150, it doesn't matter. In film terms, it's pocket money, right? And when you've got a small budget like that, pre-production is everything. You've got to absolutely nail it, so that when we're in a hangar in, you know, near Spalding or wherever, and Elizabeth is shooting one scene, we've got the next 3 scenes lined up in the other corner and in the other building and outside. Do you get what I mean? That's how we need to do it, and we can't keep doing take after take after take. We talked about this because Mark is also playing the venue manager of the Expo Centre in Skegness, Ginger Morecambe. That's going to be Mark.
Yeah.
And so we were talking
about
how we can't run this like a kind of drama workshop. We've just got to nail it. I said to Elizabeth, how long do you think we have to do this, knowing full well that a lot of movies take 3 to 4 to 5 months to shoot, yeah? You won't believe what she said. I'll tell you, I don't think it's possible, but she said this. 10 days. I know, she said that. I still need to know that we can do 14 days, because it scares the hell out of me. And, you know, 90 minutes plus in shot in 10 days is absolutely, it's insane. But anyway, it's going to be crazy. What? I don't know why I was answering that, but how long is it going to be? Pre-production, shoot possibly March, end of March, beginning of April, last week in March, first couple of weeks or whatever in April. Edit for 3 months. Festivals, because apparently you can't go to festivals with a movie if you've given all the backers the movie. It's not done, apparently. It's not de rigueur.
No, yeah, you don't do that.
Yeah.
It sucks as a backer. Most people don't realise that if you're a backer, you're still not going to be getting it before previews and whatever else is. And that's across all media, unfortunately.
Yeah, because what we want to try and do, obviously, is beyond the Kickstarter, is hopefully sell it to a distributor so that lots of other people can see it all over the world, right? And to do that, you need to do the festival circuit.
Yeah, and also it makes sense that, like, if you're trying to sell a movie, if it's already out there to a couple of hundred or 1,000 people, pretty much everyone already has it anyway. No one's going to pick it up and properly distribute it.
So that's the way that we work. And then, so I reckon, I've said September in the Kickstarter, but it does very clearly state that there's no way of guaranteeing that. So September, October 2025, it'll be in your hands. But there might be a way for us to get other merch to you earlier, and the reason for that is, again, because of the community-friendly, family way we're doing this. My mate Paul, also from Lincoln, is the guy who's made all of this merch. And he did this, honestly, he did it through the night. What time did he come to our hotel in Lincoln yesterday?
It was like 7:30 in the morning. We were going to pick up at midnight from his house, weren't we?
Yeah, he even offered for us to stay with him, which is a bit weird. And basically, that's what we're talking about. It's proper cottage industry stuff, but it means that I'm not going to promise you this, and people involved in the project are staring at me saying, "Shut up, Jace." But we'll do our best to get whatever we can get out to you as soon as possible, right? Because I know that waiting for a year for something that you've backed can be quite difficult. One more question, and then we'll do the giveaway.
Well, yeah. So, without giving the end of the story away, what is it about retro gaming that makes it particularly effective against AI?
That is such a good question. So the director, Elizabeth, I would give it to Mark, but this is an area that I was responsible for. The director, Elizabeth, did have a thing. I tell you, you're probably aware, being a sort of, and I mean this with, I mean this with all the love it's meant, a room full of geeks. I defined geeks, actually, at that event, the Rubber Keyed Wonder at IMAX, and I said, it occurs to me, because I was really moved. I actually had a tear watching Rubber Keyed Wonder, because it reminded me so much of my dad and that period of all of our lives when our parents, you know, spent the money they couldn't afford to buy us all that first generation of computers. And I said, I know what a geek is, you know, it's taught me something. A geek is someone that feels emotion around technology or popular culture, and that's the difference. That's what we share, right? And I've actually forgotten what your question was. and that emotion and that love, which we've all got for retro games, yeah? That feeling that I get, that you've got this morning, people have come up to me, and they're grown men and women making really weird noises around this Sinclair C5, and cooing and looking down and stroking it, right? And that feeling, the guy saw my Vectrex, and he couldn't believe I'd let him play on the Vectrex. We've got a Vectrex on the stand. And that just incredible thing, like that notion that the reason that you let me borrow your golden joystick is because you knew what it meant to me, right? Yeah. And obviously it means a lot to you, but I was particularly taken.
I wanted that.
Yeah. We will organise that. Yeah, it's about that. And if you can think, if you want to make an underdog story, right, which are the best stories, right, and you want to see an ordinary person that you can really relate to triumph, right, it's so much easier if you can instantly attach to them emotionally because of a shared interest in what makes them passionate. Do you get what I mean? So that's the role that the games have, right? There's a quote on the website, I wish I could remember it, but I can't. It's a quote that one of our characters called Psy, spelled P-S-Y, he's an IT specialist, an IT services specialist, and he's pivotal to the hacker component. That's what enables us to hack the AI, right? He's able to hack the AI because of his knowledge, right? His, you know, his understanding of that technology is what makes it believable. I was saying that Elizabeth got back to us and she said, it's great, but the script is too long, it needed to be 90 pages. Was that 90 pages, wasn't it? And the reason it was so long was because I'd spent so much time convincing, well, myself, but ultimately you lot, how you could get a ZX Spectrum to hack an AI. The simple answer to your question is this. They don't have enough memory for the denial of service attack that comes back at them to have any effect. That's the simple answer. And with that, we're going to do a quick giveaway, ladies and gentlemen, but it's not small by any means, it's a huge thing. Just tell us of a project you're involved with right now so it makes sense to people, Tim.
Okay, so I only got this the other day. This is our first album, which came out in 1993, and it only came out on a single vinyl thing. So we've repressed it on like double vinyl, and there's some extra mixes on it and some rarities that didn't come out. And the record company are really tight because they sent me 4. I gave 1 away to my mate, and I've got 3 left, and so I'm going to give 1 away and then keep 2 for myself. And yeah, so basically we're going to do a question for this, and it's worth having a go at this because even if you don't like the record, you just probably want to sit on it for a few years, put it on Discogs, and it'll pay for your weekend hotel. It's lovely. It's a lovely hotel. So yeah.
So the question is?
Yeah, it's a bit like a comprehension thing, this, because Jason has mentioned it about 4 times.
4 times?
4 times, I reckon. So the question is...
Hang on, before we ask, I need to make sure that there's a way of us finding the person. So if you know the answer to what Tim's about to ask, put your hand up. I will then throw a cap, and whoever with their hand up, the cap lands nearest will be the person I give first opportunity to answer. If they get it right, then they win. Does that make sense? Okay, very convoluted process. Right, Tim.
So the question is...
cat.
Yeah.
The question is, who... Really simple this, because Jason has done it 4 times. Who is the main character in the film?
Right, okay, so we've got, don't say anything to that, guys, because you might give it away, right? We're going to throw it blindly. Who's near that man there? That man with a burger on his chest. Green. So the question was, the lead character in Ctrl A.I Delete, what's the character's name?
Spiv.
I can't do it. So difficult. I can't do it again. I feel bad.
I'll do it.
How about you keep the cap, and we'll ask someone who can, because it wasn't right, and I've got to be fair. You're a gentleman.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Right, as a consolation prize for you, sir. I haven't got any more vinyl, but I've got some CDs, right? Because I need to keep the 2 copies because the record company. A tie. And
round of applause for that gesture. I'm going to stroke the cap.
I'll send you a CD.
And you got a cap. Everyone's a winner. Right, okay, here we go. Ready? We good? Yeah? So. Sorry, I did try it. In my mind, it's going all the way to the back. Young man.
Some.
It's not the right answer. Give me the cap. Give me it, my love. I'm sorry. Right, okay, do apologise. Right, one more time. Here we go. Okay.
Smith.
Is the right answer, ladies and gentlemen. No, it wasn't the most perfect. I'm sorry about putting it back. I did try, but I just didn't want to smack someone in the face. Okay, absolutely incredible. What's your name?
It's Marie.
Marie? Anne-Marie. Round of applause for Anne-Marie. Round of applause for DJ Tim. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've been told that we can't do signings here, correct? We need, because there's another act that needs to come in, they'll be very gracious and let us go over time a little bit. We're going to go to our stand. You know where John Romero is? We're right next door to John Romero. Please come by, grab the QR code. We'll tell you, answer all your questions, and we'll do some signings. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for this panel. Ctrl A.I Delete is now live on Kickstarter. Come back at 1:30. We've got Ocean 8-bit music legend Jonathan Dunn will be here. Then join us again at 3 PM celebrating 40 years of the Amstrad CPC. We can't believe it. We've got